All right, welcome back to the Fever, everyone, and we've got the picks ready. So let's find out who George Watson likes this week, and if he doesn't pick your team, he owes you a steak dinner. I'm just kidding. Let's start with Thursday night game out at Lowry Field. Abilene Cooper visiting Lubbock High. George, can the Westerners put something together here, because Cooper is a pretty good team?
Cooper is a very good football team. You know, like I said earlier, it's a team that has beaten Austin Westlake, scored 50-plus, and really kind of took control of Central this last week. Lubbock High, unfortunately, is still searching for its identity, searching for what will work for them. Sometimes it's throwing the ball, but most times it's running the football. But Abilene Cooper, I think, is just going to have too much speed, too much skill. I mean, this is a team that that was competitive at the 4A level last year, and now this is a team that may actually give Abilene High and the rest of that 2-5A fits, moving back up, or 3-5A moving back up to 5A. So I look for Abilene Cooper Thursday night to get the win.
Wichita Falls visiting Coronado at Lowry Field on Friday night. Wichita Falls Ryder, a good team. I don't know if this gets any easier for District 2 5A out of district right now. Yeah,
Ryder had a tough weekend last week at home against Amarillo, and Amarillo really runs the football well. Coronado, though, we all know that Coronado's going to throw the ball, so unless Coronado can maybe find a running game that can keep Ryder off balance, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to keep up with Ryder. And like I said earlier, this all goes back to Coronado's defense. They're going to have to find a way to slow Wichita Falls Ryder down, slow anybody down right now, and if they can't do that, then they're going to be in trouble the rest of the season. I like Ryder in this one because Coronado's defense, I think, is just too suspect at this point.
Monterey taking on Midland in our next one, and Midland, of course, rolling right now. They've gotten 3 in a row. They had the big win over Coronado last week. Craig Yinzer's team looking good now. Todd Pearson probably would like to get a little bit more film on them, but how do you see this one shaping out?
This actually, I think, could be a very competitive football game just for the simple fact that Monterey has its offense going. They are playing very well offensively, and in each game they've played this year, they've played well enough offensively to win all 3. They've had some defensive problems the first 2 games, but they really kind of shored that up this week. Now, like you said, Craig Yinzer has an outstanding football team down at Midland. They should be competing for that district championship along with Abilene and Abilene Cooper. And I think just being at home, Midland's just going to have a little bit too much for Monterey. I like the Bulldogs in this one at home.
Matadors look to keep on rolling. They're going to take on Canyon in this one, get a second game in a row at home after being on the road for those first 2. Do they get off to a 4-0 start?
I think so. And this is going to be the late game of a doubleheader out at Lowry Field between Canyon and Estacado. Canyon went on the road to New Mexico last week, got really throttled by a good Roswell Goddard team. And like I said, Estacado went out and didn't play a very good game at all and still won by 32 points. So expect for Estacado to go out, shore up those things, correct those mistakes, come out more focused, and be a better football team. And that's only going to spell trouble for Canyon. I like Estacado to go 4-0 in this one.
Roosevelt taking on Idalou in our next game, and 2 coaches that obviously know each other really well in this one. And an offense that's shaped up pretty well so far this season for Roosevelt. How do you think this one goes against Idalou?
Well, this one is I'm kind of breaking my old rule of never pick against Johnny Taylor, but unfortunately, the way both teams have gone this year, it's obvious that Roosevelt has more firepower and more speed and more explosiveness in that offense than Idalou. Idalou picked up a big win this last week against Friona after struggling the first couple weeks. Roosevelt's off to a very, very good start. They've really come out of the gates well. So I think Roosevelt is a short trip to go on the road, but I like them to go over to Idalou and beat the Wildcats. Go with Roosevelt this week.
All right, Seminole visiting Snider in our next game. Seminole, of course, had 18-point loss to Cooper last week. I don't know if it gets any easier because we know what type of team Snider is, obviously.
Yeah, Snider has a very good football team all the way around, offensively and defensively. Seminole has a good team, but I just don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Snider's weapons. Keenan Ward at quarterback, everybody they've got at running back, Anthony Taylor at receiver, and then you look at a 2-time All-State guy, Shady Romish at free safety. So Snider just a more well-rounded, all-complete team. I like the Tigers in this one.
Lubbock Christian visiting Rawls in our next one. We've seen some good offense from Lubbock Christian this season. How does this one turn out?
Well, you wonder if Lubbock Christian's kind of break the up and down type deal. They had a good weekend the first week. They had a really bad weekend against Seymour the second week, then came back with a good weekend against Anton this last week. Now they go back on the road with the Rawls team. And Tim James teams are always going to be prepared and always going to play hard. But I think Lubbock Christian probably just has a little bit too much talent on this one. Look for the Eagles to go on the road and get the win this week.
Borden County heading over to Meadow, and Borden County, of course, state champion 2 years ago. They've got a great team. They've had a lot of those guys for the last 2 years. How does this one turn out? Because Meadow's a pretty solid team.
Meadow, absolutely a very solid team. This may be, of all the classifications, maybe the best game of the weekend. Two six-man teams. You got Borden County, like you said, the two-time defending state champions, and you got a Meadow team that we all kind of wondered how they going to come into the season, how are they going to replace Rico Rocha. But they've done a very good job. Fabian Molina's done a good job. Houston Quintanilla at quarterback's done a good job, and Borden County just kind of seems to reload. So this is going to be, I think it's going to be a very physical, going to be a very hard-fought, could be a low-scoring game this week, but being at home, I like the Meadow Broncos in this one.
All right, Georgia's picks for Week 3, Abilene Cooper over Lubbock High, Wichita Falls right over Coronado, Monterey getting taken out by Midland, Estacado over Canyon, Roosevelt over Idalou, Snider over Seminole, Lubbock Christian over Rawls, and Meadow over Borden County. You mentioned that one. Meadow might be the best one against Borden County. Is Monterey maybe the one out of these that could sneak up and get a win out of all of them?
I think Monterey probably is going to be the one most likely if you're looking for an upset to come out of this one, just because, like I said, Monterey's offense is playing well enough to win. If they can put together the kind of defensive effort they did against Friendship, being against Midland, that's going to be a little bit tougher with their talent, but they can put together that kind of defensive performance, I think they've got a shot.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this week of Football Fever. As always, I'd like to thank everyone at LISD TV for everything they do. Be sure to check their website for more info on upcoming games and episodes of the show. You can also follow all your favorite teams each weekend on the AJ's High School website, LoneStarVarsity.com. And if you haven't gotten enough George Watson, you can chat with him 1 o'clock on Friday for a Cover It Live vlog. For George Watson, I'm Travis Cram. We'll see you next time right here on The Fever. Did as well, winning over Seagraves 35-7. Well, coming up, George will introduce you to a Pirate who came up big this week and plundered any chances at, dang it, it wasn't going fast enough. I almost remembered, and I was like, wait, who'd they beat? Okay.